welcome to the Velvet Visionaires Podcast, where vision meets execution. This podcast is for visionaries only. The builders, the creators, the seers, those who see beyond what is and build what could be. And today, that's who we're joined with, right? I'm your host, Walter Williams, and today I'm joined with a author, a pastor, an entrepreneur, restaurant consultant, a business strategist, owner of myKitchen, which is and has been a commissary kitchen for businesses like Big John's Barbecue, the Fry Box, Bougie Vegan, Jammy Joe's, Coral Pour, and many, many others. So definitely want to say welcome and thank you for joining us today, Jonathan.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I appreciate you joining us, man. And I think let's start with Big John's, right? That's because that was the first foray into the barbecue business with you. So I think you told me maybe it was a month ago, that Big John's was originally your grandfather. Is that what it was named after, or how did the Big John name come into it?
So the Big John's name, I'm Little John, by the way, but my dad is actually Big John's. Okay. So we were having a conversation in transition. I started preaching at 16. So from preaching 16 to like my mid 20s, I'm not gonna lie, I just got burnt out with the church. We had senior pastor for about 7 years on the tail end of that burnout. And so as a transition, I'm trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do next? I'm a welder by trade. So graduated from high school, I went straight to Tennessee Tech, learned how to weld, and I was welding in the plants. But it was your degree's a seminary and your skill is welding. Are you going to go back to the plant, or are you going to try to reinvent yourself and find another way? Having that conversation with my dad kind of led to, hey, give me them recipes. Let me see what I can do with it. Like, I've always thought that my parents could be some of the greatest entrepreneurs, but they didn't have the people around them to teach them, train them, you know what I'm saying, show them the way. So I just kind of felt like I had the ability to do what they had really wanted to do. And so I was like, hey, give me the recipe. So he gave it to me, showed it to me one time. I'm his son, but he was like, I'm gonna give it to you one time. You better write it down. If you don't get it, you ain't gonna have it. And so I just took it and started tweaking it. I didn't own a smoker. I didn't know a whole lot about, we were raised in a house of cooks. So it was always grilling, fish frying, something was always happening. A lot of the meals that we ate were done, on the smoker, on the grill. So I knew a little bit about it, but I didn't think that I could cook the way I, am cooking to this day. So, man, videos, YouTube videos, master classes, just tweaking, burning up a lot of food, ruining a whole lot of product. But the people in our church gave me the opportunity. They was just like, hey, I know you're trying to reinvent yourself. I got a smoker at the house. I'll let you borrow it. Right. So we're on Lodge Road, man. Smoking chicken on the side of the church building, and selling $10 chicken plates. That's kind of how like the Big John's brand started. We worked out of that church kitchen for probably about a year and a half before we even had the opportunity to do, our first brick and mortar option. Yeah.
So you talked about you kind of growing up with cookers in your family. You started talking about like getting your skills from them. Let's talk about a little bit more of that. Where is Jonathan Hambrick from? What's your origin story?
Born, raised here. I'm a Huntsville hospital baby.
Okay.
Yeah, been in Huntsville all my life. I went to Montview Elementary, Ed White Middle School, Lee High School, seminary and college. They had a satellite extension program in Decatur, so I didn't necessarily have to go to North Carolina for seminary school. So I was able to travel. But I did seminary school at a local church in Decatur. But man, I'm born and raised here. I left for a little while, but I came running back.
Nice. Well, first of all, I gotta give a shout out to Ed White Middle School.
Absolutely.
That's my middle school.
Your stomping ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what's up. Now, you said you went to Lee High School, and you said you had some cooking experience. Did you do anything in high school that gave you a little bit of experience on cooking?
Growing up in the house with my mom, that was her passion, was cooking. Like, of course, she ultimately wanted to be a beautician. Didn't have anybody really kind of cultivate that. So, the lane that she kind of fell in was cooking. So all I know is my mom cooking. So, for me, what did it look like in our household growing up? My mom cooked 3 meals a day at the place that she was at. So when she came home, cooking was like a no-go.
Gotcha.
So my mom would do stuff like, hey, I'm leaving during the summer months. Hey, I took out some chicken. I took out this. I took out that. Like, cook it. I'll be back home at such and such time. She gets home, you fix her plate, y'all sit at the table, and she's critiquing. She's like, hey, okay, this baked chicken is great. Like, whatever you did this time, you need to do that again next time. If it was nasty, she was like, it was okay. Maybe you missed the mark on this one, or, it was too salty or whatever. So, I had to learn how to cook just because my mom was just tired of cooking by the time she got home. So, and then my dad, I always hung out around him. Like I said, even to this day, like you may pull up in his driveway and the smoker's going, what'd you cook today? Well, I grilled such and such, such and such, such and such. I've even had some of my customers that live in the neighborhood around where he's at. They was like, man, I smelled your dad smoking cooking today. So always around it. My Uncle Willie and Aunt Barbara, they raised gardens and chickens and cows, and a lot of the meals that they cooked were on the grill, So I learned just from an early age. I was always around it. So did I think I would be doing this what I'm doing now? No. It wasn't even on my radar. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the Baptist preacher raised in the Baptist church. We wait on somebody to pass away and they, promote you to the next phase of ministry or whatever. But no, cooking kind of became my ministry in the marketplace, man. Yeah.
You talked about the welding side too, right? How did you really get into welding a lot, or was that just kind of a trade that you took on to make some money in the meantime?
Well, college wasn't my thing. Seminary school was, but college, I didn't feel like it was something that I needed to go. So, of course, I started preaching at a young age. Right. So I just kind of felt the call to do the seminary piece of it versus getting off into, but of course I needed to make some money. And welding I love cars, I love car restoration. I just took a liking to it. So, straight out of high school, it was like the low-hanging opportunity to make a decent living for yourself. So I instantly tried to figure out how to do it. Yeah, and I did that. I worked in the plant, man, for about 12 years. Yeah.
Because that's another thing too, right? Like, of course, I hear a lot from the visionaries. I watch this. It's like, all right, I have this idea, right? And I want to pursue this. However, I still got to feed my family. I have kids at home. I got a wife at home. How do you make that jump to say, all right, I want to go pursue this passion? You know what I mean? How do you prepare yourself mentally, whatever else you have to do to prepare yourself? What do you do to make that leap into that space?
For me, it was, honestly, I was scared to do it.
Hey man, you see this? Why they didn't record this on a real camera? They shot this on a Motorola flip phone, man.
Hey, we're live.
Hey, I'm Walter Williams with Velvet Visionaires Studios, and I help local businesses here in Huntsville make content for their social media pages. If you're a real estate agent, if you're a clothing boutique, if you're a restaurant, a food truck, anything like that needs better content, clean content to better engage with their community, reach out to me. If you've got an upcoming event that needs videography services, reach out to us. You can call us 256-541-8966, or you can email us at velvetvisionaires@gmail.com, spelled just like you see. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day. Hey bro, why you ain't tell me that the camera was on?
I didn't have anybody around me that, were entrepreneurs kind of lived out before me. I was raised in a house where they taught you go to college, keep a good credit score, buy on credit. It wasn't a whole lot of, now my dad on the other side, he was a different story. Like he was saved and buy, no debit card, no checkbook. If I wanted some money, he had to go to the bank. He was all, he was old school. Now, my grandparents and my mom, they were more of, go to college, get a degree, or get a skill, or do something and go to school, So for me, jumping into entrepreneurship, I knew nothing about it. I just knew that, like, okay, there are people that are cooking, and honestly, I'm like, let's start cooking and see where it goes. So I did that, and let's just backtrack. So if I go back a little bit, like I did welding and I was welding for a long period of time, but then I also started pastoring early on too. So my first business, let's just say, I think I was always called to it. So my first business was a lawn care business. You know, I was the kid. My mom told me you got to work. Like they built this beast that I am today. Like I seen my parents work 2 or 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was the neighborhood kid. When most people like, hey, I want a PlayStation or a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo, I was like, give me a lawnmower, weed eater, and a blower. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want because I had a passion for dogs and pets and things like that. My parents were like, well, you're going to have to take care of that. I'm not doing that. The way to do that is go ahead and make this money. So I had, you know, lawns in the neighborhoods that were on rotation. Every 2 weeks, I'm cutting somebody else's different grass. So, you know what I'm saying? That kind of became a thing. I'm like, okay, man, I can make my own money this way. So after then, of course, you know, I was working in the plant. And after the plant, then we started dabbling off into ministry more on a full-time, you know, scale. So my second business became a daycare. You know, we had, 100 plus kids at one point. We did that for 7 years. You know, it's funny just seeing some of those kids that we kept as babies in the nurseries, like are actually graduating college now. But the daycare business was the business that was next after lawn care. And then from there, that's when I said, like, hey, I'm burnt out with ministry. I'm burnt out with daycare. I'm burnt out with, you know, dealing with people. I just need to pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm called to this, but at the same time, I'm just like, I need a break. Because if I don't take a break, I'm not going to make it. And so food became my transition from that place.
Gotcha.
So then that's when I said, hey, give me them recipes. He gave me the recipes and we started, you know, doing what we're doing. And from there, like, I have to give credit. Like your studio sits across the street, from the mansion that has been built by the first man who gave me the opportunity to even have my first restaurant. I have to give my shots out to Vincent Ford. Vincent Ford gave me my first opportunity when he said, hey, you know, right now they don't know if you are cooking for the church or, you know, at some point, you know, the health department is going to find out about what you're doing, you know, Let me show you a different way. So he really kind of grabbed me, took me in. Oh, he was hard on me, guy. You know what I'm saying? Like knockout, drag out. He was hard on me. I appreciate that now.
Right.
But on the front end of it, like he was really hard on me. But, you know, hey, from the gate, it was like, give me a business plan. He took my first business plan, man, balled it up and was like, no, go back to the table, do it again. You know, and it wasn't until I brought a business plan to him that was solid enough for him to even say, okay, now I'll give you your first lease. And he gave me my first lease, and it was him and Portia, some managers that he had that was running there. You know, those guys wrapped their arms around me, and they helped me start, you know, 53 Harvest, the location for Big John's. And then from there, it just kind of, it's been ongoing.
You know, it's so good that you called out Vincent Ford. Shout out to that guy, man. Like, it's so important having mentors and having somebody to show you the way and pour into you and teach you, like, this is the right way to do it. Don't do it like this, young man. Follow this path, or young lady, whatever the case may be. How do you find, or to those visionaries that are watching, how do you suggest people find a mentor? How did you find your mentor? What is the process for people that don't have somebody pouring into them to get somebody to pour into them?
I mean, networking is always important. So, you know, doing your homework and doing your research, you try to figure out, you know, your industry, and then figure out, you know, for us in the food service industry, there's a lot of different, you know, networking and groups and hospitality groups and things like that. So, you know, seek those places out, seek out commerce, you know, your chamber of commerce and things of that nature. But to be honest with you, just pay attention to the people that's embracing you. You know, like most of the people that have mentored me have been people that have sought me out, and I haven't really been looking for them. You know, it was like they came to support and they kept supporting. And as a result of it, with them having the knowledge, they eventually was like, hey, let's build that relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all about relationships. So, you know, a guy from Mr. Daniels, CEO of United Way. He said something to me a while back. He was like, if you honor people and value relationships, like you'll never have to chase money and opportunity. Like they will always find you. And like I just kind of took that and adopted that as my mantra, like valuing people and relationships. And, you know, a lot of us don't like to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, we like to talk about the good, but we kind of try to avoid having conversations even when stuff gets rough. You know, so for me, it was, you know, be a man and be okay with having the tough conversations. Most people and more people respect you for being the man to have the tough conversations, and are actually more willing to work with you than for you to avoid, you know, those types of things. So it's all about relationships. Like build those relationships with those persons that, like Vincent was eating my food and I didn't even know who Vincent Ford was. You know what I'm saying? He was eating my food from the church kitchen. Matter of fact, he was eating my food from the church kitchen by way of his store manager that was like, hey, you need to eat this food. And she was the one who connected the dots and said, hey, I need you to sit down with this guy. And I know you don't know him, but he's been eating your food. And he's just like, hey, that church kitchen ain't where you need to be. You need to be in this type of place. And you know what I'm saying? So it was value in that relationship that cultivated another relationship.
That's right. And the point that you bring it out is so important because connecting those dots between us all, right, that's how you value your relationships. That's how you, because at the end of the day, what my favorite saying is, your network determines your net worth, right? I believe that because the amount of people you have around you and those connections that you have can be leveraged to help you, and you can help them in the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you got to have a strong network and you got to build those relationships. You know, I don't think any entrepreneur can be a successful entrepreneur without building solid relationships. Yeah, don't burn bridges, man. Like you never know when you're going to have to cross that bridge again. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're leaving or transitioning from a relationship that once was good at some point, but it's just not good for you anymore. Like, you know, a lot of people make the mistake by leaving that relationship just prematurely, immaturely, like they just walk away from it, act like it never was any value to them. Like, no, like that relationship at some point was of value to you, but don't just walk away from it. Like have that conversation, you know, have that transitional conversation. Like, hey, this was good for me at one point. Now it's not good for me. I'm going to go in a different direction. Like it's those moments that make, you know, because at some point I may have to go back over there and be like, hey, I need you to help me. You know what I'm saying? To get to where I need to go.
That's 100%. And then on top of that, that relationship that you had at that time, you needed it. And it brought you to another level. So you got to appreciate that growth that you got.
Yeah, like me and Vincent, I love, you know what I'm saying? Like he's came by the restaurant on base. He's eating at the restaurant. You know, any differences that we've had, I've apologized. We've squashed whatever. And it really wasn't a big heated, you know, situation. He was just hard on me as a businessman. I was young and real zealous and like, oh, no, you can't, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like as I mature and as I grow and as I understand the importance of relationships, like I can value, you know, the tough time that he gave me. But as a result of it, it's like now he says, hey, I got a situation at the mansion, need you to cater for it. I'm going to try to make sure I do what I need to do to make sure that happens, because if he had never gave me my start, people wouldn't have even known that big, they wouldn't have known. Like he was the person that took the first chance on me, you know? So I don't hold grudges, you know? I just kind of let stuff go, say my forgiving, like, and kind of keep it moving.
No, for sure. In our community, you can't. And I said it in the last interview. Brotherhood is a weapon. We gotta have brotherhood amongst each other. We gotta have sisterhood amongst each other. We gotta be able to do those types of things.
Yeah, we're not gonna always agree. We're not gonna always get along. But at the end of the day, like we still have to come together and do what we have to do to make sure that as a community, like we're all good.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. That's excellent. So. Let's get back to it because we haven't gotten to myKitchen yet, right? So you were making food out of the kitchen, and I assume you left the kitchen, you went to 53 because that's when I found out about you was on 53. I don't know how I found out about you. Somebody said they was making some good food out there, and I was like,
let me try it out.
That's good. So, all right, so you did that, and then I remember going out there to get that food, and then sometime I saw you had a food truck, and I started seeing myKitchen. So how did you come to that? What is myKitchen for those that don't know, and how is that a part of your business now? How is that a part of what you do now?
Yeah, after being on 53 for a period of time, of course the young, just, let's box type of guy that I was at the time, it was, what, let's just stop at 53 and let's just figure out another way to do it, because I'm, not necessarily in good standing and in a good place, but at the same time, my reputation is everything. So it's just like, you can keep going in this direction, or you can just find a new pathway. All right, so as I'm alluding to that relationship that I had, like with Ford, like he taught me the business. His manager took time to teach me the business. And at that time, I didn't need a commissary, so I really didn't even know what a commissary kitchen or an incubator was, because I didn't have a need for it. Like, I went instantly from the church kitchen to having my own brick and mortar. So, the need or the law that says, hey, you have to have. When I first started, like, people were cooking out of their houses. They had business licenses from their houses. And of course, at some point, like, the law and rule changed to where they start saying, like, if you have a food service business, you have to be attached to a commercial space. And as I'm kind of just stepping away from 53, trying to figure out what I need to do, our employees that we had didn't want to go anywhere. They weren't going to find other jobs. We were cooking from my house. And I went back to cooking from the house. Like, we were doing big jobs. I was smoking meats on the side of the house, 12-foot, 6-foot table, sitting up in the house. You know what I'm saying? But I just figured out, like, this is not the way. So if I say this, like, my first year in business was COVID. Okay, so let's talk about that. Yeah. So my first year in business was COVID. So the year and a half of cooking in the church kitchen did give me the ability to have a customer base when I did open in 53. But we opened in 53 6 months before the world got hit with COVID. So we opened in that June. From that June to December, and we were booming. We had a customer base. We had the lines. We had the people that were supporting and eating the food. Okay, and we just thought, like, this next year is going to be our biggest year ever. You know what I'm saying? That's when I bought my first food truck in that first 6 months. We did our first reno on it. I bought a cheap truck. We did a lot of work ourselves. We were just like, let's just save as much money as we can. But then our first year was COVID. So at that point, I don't know nothing about no curbside, no online ordering, no, you know what I'm saying? So we had to figure all of that out, in that first year. So that first year for us was tough. Like, we fell behind on so much stuff, and we were just trying to stay ahead of it. We were determined to stay open. We did the whole entire time of COVID, but after that, we were in a, like, exhausted. You know what I'm saying? So between the relationship and then being exhausted, it was just like, we got to find another way. Then that's when I started researching the commissaries, the incubators, things like that. Now, a lot of people know him as Blessing Isaac. Isaac is, everybody know about Mr. Blessing. Right. All right, so Isaac actually had a church. He had a kitchen that was on Meridian Street. Okay, all right. So he wasn't doing anything with it. And he was just like, I got this before COVID. I don't know what to do with it. If you have something that you want to put in it, I said, well, just give me the opportunity. So I went in that space. I cleaned it up. We got everything together. I pitched the myKitchen concept to a room of about 15 people. And all 15 of the food service individuals, like, they signed up and paid their fee that day. Nice. So then I was like, okay. So you had something. Yeah, this works. Yeah. People need this. Yeah. And I'm like, let's just keep doing this. And that's how I like the myKitchen concept. Like, Isaac gave me an opportunity to stand up something in a space that he was just doing nothing with. And then it just kind of went from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you think that and we're going to talk about oversaturation just for a second. Do you think the food truck service, the food truck industry in Huntsville is oversaturated? Do we have too many food trucks? Do you feel like that, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think it's important that we support the local food trucks. You know, I'm all about supporting the locals. You know, do I support the big chains? I don't eat a whole lot of food, but, you know, I do support those guys. But most of the time, I'm always seeking out how to support the locals. Do I think that there's too many food trucks? There are more food trucks on the ground now than it was 8 years ago when I started. You know what I'm saying? And the competitiveness of, you know, trying to get into certain events is a little on the struggle side sometimes, you know, because there are more food trucks out there. But honestly, I think you can put us all on the same block and we all gonna win because somebody's gonna come and eat at their favorite food truck today. And they may not eat with me all day, every day. They may eat with your food truck the next day. But at the same time, I feel like you could put us all on the block and Huntsville still wouldn't be fed. That's even with the chains being out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all for the people. Like, there's so many companies and businesses and things like that. You know, even if you put every food truck at every business in Huntsville right to this day for a lunch hour, there would still be hundreds of, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, I think it's a good thing. If somebody has a passion for cooking, has a passion for food trucking, has a passion for the food service industry, you know, I say go for it. Yeah, it's so much opportunity out there to eat.
That's right. Because you can also, in Huntsville you can do it, but you can also go to Birmingham, you can go to Nashville. You have all these other opportunities that you can do within that food service industry there.
Yeah, and there's some guys that started out really early that have done that. Like, there's some guys that I know that, you know, were really staples in our city that are now tapping into those other markets in Birmingham and Nashville and things like that.
You talked about your original mentor situation. You kind of talked about that, but has it ever been a time when it looked like you had it together, but you didn't feel like it internally? You know what I mean? Was it ever a point when you were like, all right, it was looking good on the outside, but you were really struggling on the inside? Because you talked about the COVID situation, but was there another time or after that you've had those type of struggles?
Yeah. I mean, after COVID, we had to reinvent ourselves. That's one. To be honest, this past year was the roughest year for us. Yeah, it was by far the roughest year for us. Financially, it was bad. I love my business partners and things like that, but just some deals are just not good deals. There was some relationships that, you know, kind of fell by the wayside. There was a lot of challenges the last year. We closed down the business. We lost 6-figure incomes last year. Man, I could go on and on and on about, you know, what last year was. I'm a fighter. I'm an entrepreneur by heart. I'm going to find a way. I'm a solution. I'm a solver. You know, I'm an administrator. I'm going to try to figure out how to get out of what we're in. And so for some people, they looked at us as like we're taking strides because maybe over the last year, that's when I feel like God opened up some doors for us to have the opportunities that we were having, you know, from a Lux Brew to a this business to a that business to a, you know what I'm saying? And it became, you know, what we thought was the best decisions for us. It actually became the toughest decisions for us. And it caused us to really kind of just draw back in, reevaluate, regroup. And we had to fight through it, you know. And we ain't necessarily, even now people look at us and they think like, oh man, he loaded. Or he, you know, he this or that. No, man. Honestly, like we're just really blessed. And the man really makes us look better than what we are. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, and we still got a little ways to go. You know, so a lot of the things that we do right now is not necessarily to say, it's the survival mode that we're in right now. Right. You know, we expand our wings not because we want to make more money. It's because we want to clean up some of the stuff that we just had to experience. Right. So for me, COVID was tough. Yeah. Last year was the roughest. Yeah. And for people, they look at us and say, man, oh, you on top of the world. Right, you got this, you got that, you got all this other kind of stuff. And I'm thinking like, I'm thankful for these opportunities, but the reality of it was, man, we were crying on the inside. We were wore out. We were tired, you know, from yesterday to today. Boy, if I went down the list and told you everything, you know what I'm saying? You would be like, okay, how do you even do it all? Yeah.
Is there anything that you can, I know this is all business and you may be fresh, but is there anything that you could share, like a lesson, a story that you could share with us that we could learn from and we could take that and we can improve ourselves with?
Man, it really goes back to that relationship piece.
Okay.
Like, I'm really big on that.
Yeah.
Like, valuing relationships, honoring people.
Yeah.
I don't think we do enough of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think the younger generation does enough of that. They don't understand the importance of valuing relationship and valuing people. Yeah. You know, I think we miss a lot of opportunities to grow. We miss a lot of opportunities to really expand our wings when we don't value relationships and people. You know, a lot of the things that we have right now, they're because of relationships and me valuing people. Right. You know, I'm transparent about it. So, Old Taste and Sea Barbecue was owned by a phenomenal couple, Melvin and Teresa, great people. They've seen me in ministry growing up. Like, I love them to death. Like, for them to say, hey, let's partner together because I'm tired. And I say, hey, I want to keep something open. Yeah. For them to trust me with a business and brand that has fed them for years, honoring, valuing relationships. It came because they said if anybody could do it, we trust that you're going to make it happen. Gotcha. Now, we kind of dropped the ball with a few things, but, you know, I'm determined. I'm going to pick those back up, and we're going to do what we have to do. Gotcha. You know, some of the food trucks and things that we have, a lot of people think, oh, man, you loaded. Ain't no way you didn't spend thousands and thousands of dollars for this stuff. No, man. It was me helping people launch their brand, helping them getting off in the trenches and saying, hey, and as a return, when they come back and they say, hey, this is not for me, I want to get out of it. You know, at that point, it kind of felt like we became restaurant brokers in a sense because we were the first persons that they call when they wanted to get out of something. Right. But a lot of the opportunities that we have now is not because we got $1 million in the bank. It's all about you help somebody else and somebody wants to help you. You know what I'm saying? That's right. We drive around in the big black buses, what I call it, not because I had the money to pay for it, but because we had somebody who said, hey, we believe in what you're doing. You helped us get this, but we want to see it happen for you. You know, even being at Westlawn, you know, I had a lease agreement with A&M. You know, it didn't go as we thought it would go. Have nothing against that, but we got introduced to the G-Beta program with the RCP people. So RCP has a G-Beta program where they're looking for business entrepreneurs and different things like that. And it's like a 9-week accelerator program. It's an incubator for the creatives. And, you know, you go through this whole process and you pitch and you create pitch decks and you understand your business a little bit more. Okay, I went through that program. At the end of my pitch, I did not know that the person that was over the mid-city concept was going to be in that room in that moment.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. I pitch and she says, that was great. What do you need? Yeah. At that point, I say, I need a space. I need a home. Right. You know? She says, I know somebody. All right? The Garrett Cohens and the Beths, you know, they have a wonderful nonprofit, Hatch. They use workforce development. They teach young kids that don't know which way they're going to go, how, you know, to interview, how to work in the kitchen, and then they try to transition you into, planting you into restaurants and help you find jobs. Like the Hatch program is awesome. I think they just got awarded some funding here recently from the city because of the work that they're doing. You know, those guys were the persons that she was talking about that purchased this whole West Lawn situation. She says, hey, they've been wanting to put a commissary in here, but you need a space for it. Let me connect the dots. It goes back to, you see what I'm saying?
Piece, yeah.
Right. So everything goes back to the relationship piece for me.
I got you.
You know, and as a result of that, you know, we walked into almost 6,000 square feet worth of space. Not because credit was the best.
Right.
Not because we had a lot of money.
Right.
Not because the business was at the peak of the strength of whatever it was at, but because we had a landlord that says, if she says she's good with you, I'm good with you.
Yeah, got you.
Tell me what you need to make this happen.
Gotcha.
And then we became a solution to an issue that they had that didn't really want to do but wanted to see it done.
Yeah.
But then they also became the solution to me. So I'm grateful even for the Garretts and the Beths and the Hatch programs and things like that, because those guys have opened up the opportunity for myKitchen to be where it's at right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because I last leased with myKitchen, it just didn't go.
I got
you know, the way we planned.
Understood. No, that's what's up. No, that's good. I appreciate you being transparent with that, because again, the importance of relationships, man. Like that's what I want people to take away is like you gotta cherish those people that's around you and deal with them and consistently stay in communication with them and make sure you're reaching out to them and being honest with them.
Yeah, talking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Talking it. Talk. I can't say that enough. Like talk. Like don't hold it in. Talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're having a tough time as an entrepreneur, like find you somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like don't try to do things alone. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with entrepreneurs that I really feel like if we had somebody that, I mean, that's any relationship though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's any relationship, whether it's a brotherhood or a sisterhood or a husband and a wife or whatever, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that relationship dynamic is. If a person feels like they were doing to get along, 9 times out of 10, that relationship ain't gonna last.
That's right.
If a wife feels like, you know, she's in it alone, we've heard the story.
That's right.
Listen, I didn't get married to be alone.
That's
Vice versa. If a husband feels like he alone, what's gonna happen? He either gonna cheat, do something, you know, whatever, because he feels like he's alone. So even as we have to take those, you know, and bring it to the business sense, like we are stronger when we're working together. We're stronger when we're doing business together. And it's important that the entrepreneurs are doing what they need to do, but it's also important that our people embrace what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's that piece of it. Like, that's why, you know, when we were talking earlier, I was telling you, like, how grateful I am of the customer base that we have. Yeah. Because here it is almost 8 years later, they're still raving about the food. Right. We're not for everybody, and some people have said, you know, that ain't for me, and I get that. I understand. We don't tickle everybody's taste buds. Right. But to know that we still have a lot of 7 and 8 year customers.
Right, no, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
That still say, like, this food is good, and it's consistent, and, you know, I want it.
The entrepreneur route, you know, so often we hear, I got it out the mud. I did this on my own. I did this. But realistically, like, it takes some help to get it out the mud. It takes help. You can't, like, if you ever had a car stuck in the mud, I mean, you're going to need a little bit of help.
I can't get out the mud.
You can't get it out the mud by yourself. You're going to need some help. You know, so I think that is a terrible thing that's going on in our community. Unfortunately, when we start talking about, I got it out the mud, we need each other, man. We need each other. We got to depend on each other. We got to help each other. So
we like to toot our horn and say we got it out the mud. It sounds good to say, I started from ground zero. And at one point, it sounded good to me until I realized that I actually needed some help. You know what I'm saying? I needed some knowledge that I did not have. You know, I needed some relationships that I did not have in order for me to get it to where I need to go. Like being humble enough to, you know, receive wisdom and knowledge and understanding, like that's important. Yeah. You got to receive it from somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the struggles, and we talked about, I think I wanted to ask you this question, like, when did you know, because we talked about the struggles, but when did you know that this is the right thing? You talked about the myKitchen, but when did you know that the cooking was the right thing? Is that the 7, 8 year customers, or when did you know that, all right, we got something with the cooking?
A lot of things, you know, food, I'll put it like this, empty stomachs don't have ears. Empty stomachs don't have ears. Even if we look at the ministry of Christ, like a lot of the stuff that he did, he led with feeding them. You know what I'm saying? There was always food at the table. And I always felt like I did not know that food would be my transition from the pulpit as a pastor. Yeah. I didn't think that this was going. I actually thought I was running away from it. To be honest with you, I was like, "Woo! I can finally breathe. Ain't got to preach on Sunday. Ain't got to bury nobody. Ain't got to marry nobody. Ain't got to cancel nobody." You know what I'm saying? The list goes on and on and on about the responsibility that, you know what I'm saying, comes along with the title and the responsibility of it. You know, great power, great responsibility. I get it. Like, but at the same time, I was just like, I just need to run from this. But I did not know that I was running into. I didn't know food services was going to become my new pulpit. You know, and I recognized that this was the right thing for me to be doing when I started talking to people that was at my front counter off suicide watch. I knew it was the right thing for me to do when people are going through death and dealing with mourning and dealing with all those kind of things that would come to me and be like, hey, can you just cook for me? Because there's one thing that makes me happy, and that's your food. I heard that.
Wow.
I've delivered food through COVID to the nurses. And it was that one food that made them, maybe even push them through dealing with all the craziness that they were dealing with at the hospital. Food services became the new marketplace, ministry place for me. It became my new pulpit. And that's when I realized, like, man, this is not just about food services. This is about helping people. This is deeper than just me getting my dad's recipe, putting a label on it, calling it a situation. Like, this is where, you know, this is what real ministry really looks like. I'm embracing people where they're at. I'm engaging with people where they're at. And then as a result of embracing and engaging, you see the needs of the people. And so at that point, you have to transition and say, do I just embrace and engage and never meet the need? You know, at some point you have to make up, and me being who I am, I'm like, I'm a problem solver. So let's try to figure out how to, you know, meet the need. So then at that point, you start equipping people and figuring out how you can empower people so that they can make that transition themselves from just being embraced and engaged to being equipped and empowered. And so at the point where I felt like food services was the thing with me is when I realized how much people in the world actually needed me in the world and not just, you know, behind the closed doors. You know, because I'm a Baptist kid. So, you know, it was, we want everybody to come to the church. And so, but the reality of it for me was like, I met people that I know would never go into the church. You know, never go into church. Never, you know, there's some other people, other races that I know, you know, church is one of the biggest segregated places ever on Sunday mornings. You know, absolutely. Blacks over here, Asians over here, Caucasians over here. Like it's a segregated situation. Some of us, sometimes, some ministries, we can merge together and be who we need to be. But the reality of it is, it's a segregated time on a Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But there's some people that at the end of the day, when all those people start eating at the restaurant, it became an opportunity to meet some people that I know I wouldn't have never met from the pulpit of a little Baptist church. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was like, these are people that I've seen from a distance, but now they're eating at the table. You know what I'm saying? And when you feed them, then you bring that relationship honor and cultivating that relationship element in there. And then that's, you know, you're engaging, and then it just gives you an opportunity. And the more you help, empower, and equip people to do what, you know what I'm saying? And you make it where it's not just about you, but it's also about, I want to see you win too. Like, how can I help you win? That's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when the purpose comes into it. So now it's not just a chicken plate. Yeah, that's right. You know, now the chicken plate, it feeds my family. You know what I'm saying? It keeps us, you know, driving and then with a roof over our head. Right. But it's more than a chicken plate. Yeah, man. When people call now, they be like, hey, can you do this? Yeah. You know, how can I help?
For sure. And I what you just said there is heavy because now it's like it's not about me coming up with another recipe. It don't matter about another recipe. Yeah. I'm feeding your soul now.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're meeting that need. You know, like I said, the heartbeat of ministry for me is compassion. You know, compassion brings about partnership, and we can't be afraid to partner. But love has to be. It got to be the root of what we're doing. You know, love what we're doing, but also love the people that we're assigned to serve and come in contact with on a daily basis.
But I see you got back into the pulpit, so you've been back in there for a little bit, right? So.
Yeah. I knew that the break was a pause, and it wasn't a retired moment for me. I was too young to even think about retiring from the pulpit. But burnout is real for persons that are in ministry because the responsibility is so great. You know, I had the responsibility of counseling people before I was even married my first time. You know what I'm saying? And you're burying people and dedicating babies and doing all that kind of stuff. The list is just long. And so once you get to a place to where, you know, you get burnt out, it's real. And you have to say pause because I'm not going, you know, especially when you're called to something. You know, it's easy for some people that are not called to this to just be like, oh, I'm going to hang it up in the closet. I did that. You know, I did my part. Yeah, I'm good with it. But when you got that call to do it, like, you ain't got no other choice. You know what I'm saying? You got to go make it happen. And I knew that at some point I would have to come back to the pulpit. I knew at some point I would, you know, because I can't run from it. It's me. It's actually my happy place. I'm a totally different person when I'm preaching on Sunday. You know, I love diving into the text. I love, you know, ministering to people. I love that's my heart. Like that's what I know my passion is. I know that's what I'm called to do. And when the opportunity came about, you know, some people know it, some people don't know it, but what made this even more of a meaningful moment for me is that the church that I'm at now is the church that I was baptized in. The church that I'm at now is the church that I grew up in as a kid. This was the church that was the church for me for the first 25, 26 years of my life. Like, this is the church that, you know.
Full circle.
Absolutely. On the cornerstone. My grandmother's name is there. My aunties and uncles' names are there. My cousins' names are there. You know what I'm saying? These are the people that probably changed my diaper and fed me milk, holding me in church. You know what I'm saying? Some of those guys are up in their 80s and 90s now, and I never would have thought they would have been calling me pastor. And they probably thought the same thing, but to be back at home, you know what I'm saying? And I'm all about legacy. You know what I'm saying? Do today what will outlive you tomorrow, you know, and try to sustain the legacy as much as you possibly can. So it makes this moment for me more meaningful. You know, it's just not, again, it's just like, it's one of those, it ain't about cooking the food. You know what I'm saying? It's about, at this point, this time, do it for the family, like keep the legacy alive. And a lot of my family is still there, but, you know, quite a few of the people that are coming in to the ministry now are just, you know, they're people that I build relationships with through food services. Like, it looks different now. You know, the first time I pastored, I didn't have that relationship aspect too much. Then I've been out here in the streets for 7 to 8 years, and they just like, man, I know you can cook, but you can preach.
Preach too, man.
Okay, so let's if we backtrack to it a little bit, there was one time when they were saying, I know you can preach, but I didn't know you could cook.
Right.
You know, but now it's kind of just like, man, I know you could cook, and we've talked about this and that, and you've helped me with this or that or whatever, but I didn't know you preached too. And at that point, it's like, okay, you know, let me come and visit.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and then they get in there and they figure out like, okay, love is the base of what we're doing here. You know what I'm saying? And they really ain't just focused about me. But I'm trying to make sure your family's good and that you're good and that you're doing everything you need to do. And yeah, it's been a great. I only been there for like 6 months, but we have turned around a whole lot of stuff, and it has been a really good moment.
That really speaks to the value of a relationship, right? Like, because you meet this person with this one thing, but then you find out this person also has other things going on. So that goes to that relationship. And you also mentioned this legacy piece, right? So how does legacy play into your business side, your entrepreneurial side of things? Like, how is that fitting into all of that?
Yeah, you know, I think Everything we have in our hands, we have to ask the question, what is it that I have in my hands? And once we figure out what we have in our hands, then we have to figure out how to maximize what we have in our hands and, how to work what we have, and really take full responsibility of what we feel like we've been blessed to have in our hands, Yeah. And the legacy piece of it for me is, again, do today what I know will outlive me tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Plant an apple tree today that will ultimately bear fruit, shade, maybe even branches, provide heat, maybe even shelter for the person way after I'm gone. Right. So I'm always thinking about, like, what can I do now that will outlive me? What can I do now that's going to position my kids and my family to not have to work as hard as I'm having to work? Like, so for me, I'm okay with working as hard as I'm having to work now to get to where I need to go. But, I don't want my kids to have to do that. Not because I want them to be privileged. I want them to work hard. Right. But if I could prevent them from having to make some of the same mistakes and work, That's right. Because we work some long hours, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the legacy piece of it is important to me. I everything I do right now is all about, going into the church and doing what we've done now, in such a short period of time. I feel like if I close my eyes today, they're going to be better because of what I did yesterday. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's just how I kind of live life every day. Yeah. I master the middle. That's my mantra, man. I master the middle. I don't live too far in the future. Yeah. That's an anxiety. That's worry. Yeah. That makes me be real quick to make decisions and do things based off of what I'm thinking too far ahead. I don't live in the past. Yeah. That's woulda, shoulda, coulda. Right. That's depression. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. You stay in that vein for too long, you become depressed. Oh, I should have did this. Or I should have did that. But what is it that God's really calling you to do now? Gotcha. In this moment. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Embrace the moment. That's even biblical. He said, let tomorrow worry about itself. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? Come on, absolutely. Let tomorrow worry about itself. Like, do everything you can do today. Yeah. And so, as a testament of my life, it's master the middle. If I close my eyes today, I feel like everybody's life is going to be better. Gotcha. That's attached to me or know me because of what I did yesterday. But if he wakes me up, I'm committed to waking up, sticking my hand to that same plow and plowing again. Okay. So every day I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna plow. Yeah, I made the decision to put my hands to the plow. And I'm not going to take my hands off of it until I see what I know. But the legacy thing is really important to me.
I think you talked about the master in the middle. I like that concept, and I don't think people fully understand that. Can you? If you got, I think we got a little more time. I know we kind of ran over, but if you could break that down a little bit more for us, like how can we master the middle today? Like, and if I got this idea, I want to start into this business, or I just started this, how can I master the middle in my space today? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as an entrepreneur, simply write the vision, make it plain. Get an understanding of it. People. They lacking slack because of they don't know knowledge. Do the research, do the homework, count up the costs. You know what I'm saying? All those are biblical principles that we can apply to now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of us, if we would do the homework and count up the real costs, we may not do some of the things we brought. You know what I'm saying? Have the conversations with the right people. So now I try to talk the person that's getting into food service out of it before they get into it. If I could talk you out of it, it ain't for you. Okay? I pour into the people that are hungry. Okay? So if the gift is hungry, feed it. Don't waste time in gifts that ultimately ain't going to yield fruit. All right? So get wisdom, get knowledge, get understanding, count up the cost, try to figure out what you need to do. All those things that are things that we should do now. can't nobody run with something that ain't been. People are converted, not because of confusion. They are converted because of clarity. All right? People are only going to go in a direction when they have clarity. If they don't have clarity and it's a lot of confusion, it's a lot of chaos. Things don't change, so I have to master the middle. Okay, as long as I'm going, always thinking about the future, always thinking about, you know what I'm saying? That's chaotic, man. That makes people go to doctors and get medication for dealing with anxiety.
Come on.
Okay, I'm not saying that a person shouldn't go and get medical help if they don't need it. I'm no doctor, so I can't say what they should or should not do. But I feel like if we would learn how to master the middle a little bit better, I'm not going to tell you that even with all the things we have going on that I don't get anxious. I'm not telling you that sometimes I say, man, I wish I should have did that. What I'm saying is I don't live back there and I don't live up there. I live right here. I live right here. And it's hard. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's easy place to stay in because we want to know.
We want to know where we're going. What's next?
Yeah, so I look at back here, though, as just lessons. I walk out of it, it was lessons. Last year was a big lesson for us. I learned a lot of lessons. I will not do those things again. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't going to live too far. Yeah, I'm just going to really try to just, you know what I'm saying? And if I take it one day at a time, we got this guy at our job. He's kind of gave all of us that saying one day at a time. One day at a time. Like, just take it one day at a time.
That's heavy because people oftentimes look in the future and you have such a big vision and you can get bogged down in that vision, right?
You get lost.
Yeah, you get lost in it, right? You can get lost and it's like now you get to a point where you like paralysis analysis. Like I need to do this perfect. I gotta have this perfect because I'm so afraid of this big vision that I have.
Yeah.
But instead of just taking imperfect action or taking just action today, mastering what you got today, that's going to set you up for tomorrow.
Yeah, take it one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? Restaurant, let's just say from welding to daycare. Let's just say from cutting grass. It was from cutting grass to welding, from welding to daycare, from daycare to full-time pastoring, from full-time pastoring to, you know what I'm saying, doing what I do now as far as like the food service industry. And then even as I got into the food service industry, like that started with one business. 6 months later, it started with a food truck. 2 or 3 years later, it turned into something else. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned it, tried to master it, fell on my face a couple times, tripped up, got the bruises and the wounds to say I did. But, I used what I had in my hand to get me to where I ultimately want to go. Like restaurant ain't the end goal for me. It ain't the end goal. Like I don't, this is, if I can dumb it down to one food truck, and I know that right now I can dumb it down to one food truck and me and my wife and family be good. But because I want to see that legacy strengthen, I work a little bit harder, do a little bit more, so that we can have the things that we really want to have. I'm not going to be happy until I build my own on my own land so that I can pass something down. As much as I appreciate a West Lawn and love it, the only reason I'm gonna want to stay there is that the door opens up and is able to be purchased at my dollar. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because I can't pass down that lease. You know what I'm saying? I can't pass down something that ain't mine, and it's important that we position ourselves. And if it, as an entrepreneur, this is what I'm called to. This is what he's making me, giving me the ability to do. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can do. Yeah, to make sure that my kids ain't got a lease. Yeah, I don't want them to lease.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nah, man, ownership is so heavy. Ownership is so important in our daily lives and even in business. In my mind, I think about ownership like this is my house. You know what I'm saying? Like this is mine. I'm not leasing this with nobody. I can, if I want to take all this out and rent it out more, I can do that because that's the ownership of it. But the Lord has allowed me to have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm gonna have to, Lord willing, I grow out of this. I need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
What does ownership look like at that point? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then you keep it and you rent it out or you Airbnb it and you let it become you know what I'm saying? You let it become an asset to where you're going. That goes back to I'm using what I have in my hands and trying to get to where I need to go. I think for so many of us, we've had the opportunities of stuff in our hand, but we spend so much of I'm trying to get the dollar out of it. Right. We walk away from stuff that we are rightfully supposed to be keeping. I got one restaurant friend of mine. Man, his mantra is if you don't own the land, you don't do the deal.
Right.
If you don't own the land, you don't do the deal. He's not putting a restaurant in a place where he don't own the land. Because the real money is in the real estate. Right. Is in the land, is in the ownership, is in the, he knows that he can turn that and do something else, lease it out to somebody, but he can only do that if he's the person that's in charge of that deed. Yeah. So, those are goals for me. And I've tried to surround myself around people like that. And that's another thing that, we need to surround ourselves around people that are where we are trying to get to. Come on. We got to do that. You know what I'm saying? We got to do that. I don't want to be the smartest person at the table. Yeah. I'm never going to have the opportunity to glean. That's right. I have to be at a table from people that I can glean from and learn from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always trying to surround myself around people, that are going to help me get to where I need to go. I think that's another important thing that I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes it's nice to be the smart person at the table, but what happens when you're the capping point at the table? That's right. No, for sure. Everybody has to have somebody to pour into them. Everybody has to have, I got mentors and coaches now. Yeah, right.
And I asked this question to somebody else, and it seems like this is going to be a question that I ask is like, how important is mentoring? Obviously, it's very important to you because you have mentors and coaches now.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to me, and it's also important for me not to be a gatekeeper as well. So, we got a lot of that gatekeeping situations going on, man, and we don't want to see the next person thrive and get ahead of it. And that's the beauty of what I do at myKitchen. I'm in the food service business. I'm in the same business trying to feed the same mouths that they trying to feed. But at the end of the day, let Mr. Moppet have something going on. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to push it. I'm going to eat his food. I'm going to tell him when it's good. I'm going to tell him when it ain't. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Jammy Joe's. When I go in there, I buy food. I eat, Hey, let me get some fish and some okra. If I go to BOJ's, let me get them rib tips. Yeah. If I, go to Vuji Vegan, hey, let me get that burger and them fries or whatever the case may be. Like I'm going to support, and do what I have to do with that. I'm not going to be a gatekeeper, but all those people can also say, when I was at the table and I didn't know how to do it, you helped me do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's that for me. It's that for me. Like being able to help all these people launch their dreams, or maybe the dream is already launched and they're just at a place where they say, hey, I just need a place where I can call home. And that's why we call it myKitchen. Gotcha. We want everybody to claim it as their kitchen. So if somebody asks the question, whose kitchen is this? Everybody can say it's myKitchen. MyKitchen is our kitchen, is what we say along the lines, and we try to help each other out. And there's some other commissaries and things out there, some great people I've met, some beautiful commissary kitchens out there outside of us. Yeah. I won't go down that list because I'll probably get in trouble. But there's some great other incubators out there with some people doing some phenomenal things. We were not the first to do it in the industry. There were some people that were doing it prior to us. There are more people getting into it now. But a lot of people are getting into it because they're either trying to stabilize the real estate that they have or they're trying to do it to chase the dollar. For us, it's, we don't make a lot of money from it. Our real estate is extremely high and our tenants just basically keep the space open. But it also gives me an opportunity to mentor and to talk to people. Like I got 3 more walkthroughs and coaching classes today with people that I'll sit down and talk to. So coaching and mentoring is important. You got to have it for yourself, and you need to try to do it as much as you can, too.
A lot of people are afraid to coach because they don't know everything, but you know something though.
You can have a conversation.
That's right.
Just keep it simple. Take the coaching out of it. All of us have the ability to bring something to the table. All of us have something to bring to the table.
That's right.
All of us have an experience that we can bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? All of us has went through something, some kind of life challenges. All of us have learned something. You know, you could teach me about videography. Right. If I sit here and say, hey, teach me, I bought this camera. Right. I don't know how to use it. Right. Show me what to do. If we just have a conversation, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be Coach Walter. Right. You know what I'm saying? You could just be Walter and be like, let's have a conversation. So I think when we kind of come off of the pressure of I'm a coach or a mentor or whatever, and just be like, hey, let's just have a conversation about it. You know? The people that gave us wisdom growing up, they wasn't calling themselves coaches,
right,
and mentors. It was the old uncle sitting on the porch. Right. You know what I'm saying? That had been a womanizer all his life. That taught us what we should and should not do when it comes down to women. You know what I'm saying? They just wanted to have a conversation. Yeah. You know, 100%. It was the hurt auntie and woman that had been abused by a man that just wanted to tell that daughter, like, don't. Right. They ain't trying to be no coach. They just trying to say, don't do what I did. Right, don't bump your head the same way. That's right. So, yeah.
It goes back to the relationship. That's the conversation for the day is relationships. Being able to pour back into somebody. Yeah. Being able to have somebody pour into you and you pour into somebody else.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah. You got to do it. That's what leaving a true legacy, in my opinion, is all about. Is that I'm not here to just be a taker, but I'm also here to be a legacy leaver. Like I want to know what I can leave behind, what I can help, who I can help. Embrace, engage, equip, empower. Like, those are my 4 principles. I put that in every relationship. I'm trying to embrace. I'm trying to engage, build that relationship. I'm trying to equip them as much as I can, or connect them with the people that can equip them, and then empower them, not just with biblical church knowledge, but economic stuff that says, you know what I'm saying? How to take $1 and turn it into whatever, So those are the 4 things that, I just kind of live life by.
I appreciate you saying that. That makes me think about my father, like how my father was. He said a lot of things that you're saying is like helping people and getting people, leaving that legacy, right? Yeah. Like the legacy my father has is one that he has helped people get to the next level, right? Like my father wasn't a collegiate coach, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't an NFL professional coach. However, what he did and what he excelled at was helping people identify their best and pulling out their best and helping them get to the next level and being perfect and being excellent at the next level. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. How can I help you?
All right, John, where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you? If they want to get with you, where can they contact you? How can they get in touch with
you? If you want food, you can go bigjohnshsv.com. Of course, we cater. We got the food trucks, things like that. You can submit their requests for the food truck or for the catering piece. We do have a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant on Arsenal. It's in the old Burger King building across from the PX. That's where the smokers are. That's what we kind of main operate out of. We have the location. I don't own the location at the Open Bottle, but it's owned by one of the ladies that was with me in the church kitchen. So it is a Big John's. It is a little slightly different, but she's doing a phenomenal job. But we're at the Open Bottle there, I think the end part of the week. I think Tuesday through Saturday or Wednesday through Saturday, 4 to 9. And if they want commissary, myKitchenHSV.com. They can go there, see our packages. It's kind of in your face, nothing hidden. It's all kind of out in the open. We've noticed that some people have even, taken the openness and kind of turned it into their thing at their commissary kitchens, but it's like no secret. We're doing it for, the community. So they can go there, look at our packages, look at what we offer.
And I will say, I was looking at your website last night preparing for the day. I was like, that was one of the big things I saw, like how clear and transparent you were with prices, contracts, scheduling, all of that.
Yeah, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to change. There's no secret. Somebody's going to talk about it. Somebody's going to figure out about it anyway.
Right.
So we just kind of, put that out there. But if they need commissary, in need of commissary, in need of a place to call home when it comes down to the food service industry, we still got room at myKitchen. But we are a little on a tight schedule, but, we manage that well. If anybody wants to, they can always send us an email. Yeah, BigJohnsHQ@gmail.com. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to say this big shout out to Jonathan Hambrick for pulling up and sharing your story with us today. Definitely appreciate your time.
Thanks, man.
I know you're busy, so I appreciate your time. Appreciate your perspective and your vision. So, and what I like to say at this time, and I try to say this in every one of my episodes, Jonathan Hambrick, you are a visionary. You know what I'm saying? And to the rest of our visionary community out there, keep building, keep creating, keep executing. Till next time, I'm your host, Walter Williams. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.